favorite people, period.
Hey.
You just saying that because I do the cleanses and shit.
Yeah,
you
but
know what I'm saying?
you know what? Big boy, I swear, anybody I mention your name to, anybody that knows you, they've always had a great experience.
Yeah. You know what it is, man? I always say that characters what's being said about you when you're not in the room.
Man.
Anybody could big up and do all that shit, but character is what's being said about you when you're not in the room. When
they love you.
Yeah, so I'm Ida's son, bro. I'm built on that. You know what I'm saying?
I love
it's
it.
not about what we do on radio, so on and so forth. I mean, if I was pick any profession, pick any job, dude. If I was a plumber,
right,
I'd be the coolest and the best fucking plumber that you know.
Go.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be, I just made sure, you know, that it's the individual first, then the titles come way after.
Everybody love Big Boy.
Thank you, brother.
Yep, literally the voice of LA. I thought I was telling people, oh, Big Boy's gonna be on the show, and I thought I had to differentiate between you and the Outcast guy.
Right,
but most people in LA was like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you know what's even bigger than that though, Josh? Even people that's on the radio competing against Big Boy says he's the voice of LA.
Oh yeah.
And that's the same thing. Steve Harvey's like, oh, you talking to Big Boy? Oh no, he the voice of LA. Hands down.
Man.
I don't have no problem with it.
Yeah, man. Nah, and you know what it is, bro? It's just I enjoy what I do. You know, I'm celebrating 30 years of LA radio, the only market I've ever been in. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy what I do, bro. I never get up. You know, you tired, all kind of shit. Anything that come with any gig that you got. But I never get up and say, man, fuck this. I gotta go do radio. You know what I'm saying? I know what hard times are. I know what a blessing is. I know what struggle is. You know what I'm saying? And getting up to go entertain people. And I've been in a position where people come up to me all the time and they say, oh, man, you got me through this. Or I've been listening to you since I was a kid. I've been listening to you for this long or whatever. And I tell them, I say, you know what? If you've been listening, I've been listening to 25 years. Let's say I've been talking to you for 25 years.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And whatever I get, a lot of people that say you got me through this, like we were just at a turkey drive and this dude came up to me and he had a real conversation about, you know, him being suicidal. He said, man, you took a suicidal kid and you made him laugh on his way to school. He said, that's all I had, you know? And it was a real moment, but that's been therapeutic for me too. You know what I'm saying? Like when my mom died, my mom was precious. My mom died on a Wednesday. I was back at work on Friday. Not because I didn't love my mom or, you know, I could jump right back in. I just had a place where I could go to that I was comfortable, and the listeners, the neighbors, they made me comfortable enough to be myself. I felt bad that my brothers and sisters didn't have this outlet of radio and this reach, and not just the reach, but being able to have people that could understand what I was going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because at that moment, it was about me too.
Right. Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So you're originally born in Chicago, but moved out here when you were like 2.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
2
I was
years
born in
old. So you've been
Peoria.
out here.
I was born in
Peoria?
Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
And yeah, I came out here like shit. I mean, you go to Peoria with me. For one, I don't think I ever been. Yeah, I went. When I was bodyguard for the Far Side, I went. But yeah, we jump into a car together, bro. We both gonna be lost unless that navigation is on. But yeah, I was born in Peoria, Illinois, and shit, I was raised all throughout L.A.
All throughout?
All throughout.
Where did you grow up mainly, or where'd you go to high school? Or where
I went
did
to
you
Culver
get
City
your
High.
Culver
I went
City?
to Culver City High. You know what I'm saying? I did a stint at Hamilton, which is like, but I was in and out. I mean, when I say a stint, I was like a day. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then all kind of middle schools and shit.
Was Big like? Were you the class clown? Was you always funny? Because everybody knows you as being funny.
I was
what was Big in high school?
You know what, man? I've always had like I always want to entertain. I knew that, you know, but then in life, there were just some things too, bro, that, you know, you kind of got off your square a little bit, you know, just dealing with life situations, you know what I'm saying? And I was funny. I was the class clown, but I was also serious. Like even my boy Jose let you know I'm kind of hard to read. You know what I'm saying? Because you could hear certain things on radio and you think like, oh, Big Boy such and such. But then there's a part of me also that it just say, I'll fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what we are. You know what I'm saying? We're real human beings. So growing up, that's pretty much where I was at. I wasn't no bully or none of that shit. You know,
right?
I wasn't offensive, but my defense was always immaculate. So shit, you grow up and, you crash the car, you learn. But yeah, I had fun in high school. And there's people that went to high school with me that'll tell you, like, oh, I knew it. Not radio, but I always knew that I was going to do something in entertainment. I knew that, man. Even as a kid, I knew it. I was signing autographs.
So you used to DJ high school parties, no?
Yeah.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, because shit.
So you always been into music?
I fell in love with music. I fell in love with hip-hop. I fell in love, just growing up, you heard everything in the house. You heard Commodores, you heard Emotions, you heard the Jacksons. So it was always music in the house. And then when we got this thing called hip-hop, bro, that was just ours. That was mine. Something I didn't, you love sharing certain things with your older brothers and, your mom and everything. But this hip-hop thing, that was like, oh, shit, like, this is mine. This is ours, So that's where I took off at. And I would literally DJ any and everywhere that I could go. Any and everywhere, man. I would DJ a party for $50, rent the equipment for $30. And then me and my homeboy Ray would split, the last 20, and he take 10 and I take 10. But for the love of the craft, not knowing that I was paying tuition into the School of Experience for what I do today,
What was your DJ name?
It's crazy, man. They called me MC Scratch.
MC Scratch.
Okay. You couldn't tell me shit, man. And I bring it up on air quite a bit too, because I thought that shit was clever, man. I was like, MC for the rapping, Scratch for the DJing. And I remember, man, like, everybody just called me Scratch. And Scratch only lasted for so long, but I was definitely MC Scratch, man. And I remember I went to this dance. And that's when you used to iron on your names and shit, right? And it had MC and Scratch. So MC at the top, Scratch, my periods and shit. It was so it was so hot in the dance that my letters start falling off.
That's funny.
Yeah, that shit. But hey, tuition.
You know what's crazy? I seen you, because I already know you can rap. And the reason why I know you can rap, the thing you did with E40 is out of this
You can't
world.
teach timing, bro.
No,
you can't teach timing.
You know what's funny? Me and Josh just got in the studio a couple of days ago. We got this song, and we might have to call Big Boy. I was like, man, we might have to call Big Boy, man. I'm over here horrible with my timing. Josh is doing way better than me in the studio. But when I heard you do
you
the
can say
thing
I'm a
with
great
E40,
rapper. It's fine.
No, we're not gonna say that. We're not gonna say that.
It wasn't rap. It was EDM.
It was like a
that money maker.
Whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
You know
It
what
was
I'm
definitely
saying?
a money
Like,
maker.
shit.
But I heard you do the thing with E40. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And it was like he already knew you was going to kill it.
Oh, yeah, man. And my thing is, I grew up loving music. And I grew up where I would even take the vinyl, right? And if you remember vinyl, bro, you could look where they would press a record through the acetate. But you can look on the vinyl and right where the label was at, where you get that clear part and then the grooves, they would have messages scratched into the label. Sometimes it'd be like A721, whatever that press number was.
Right.
But it'd have something like, oh, believe in yourself. Such like I studied music. I studied that, man. I love the way that the crackle of vinyl would sound. I used to love to go record shopping and just buy things by title. Right. I had crates and crates and crates and crates of records. And my guy Jose bro, like when we roll, it's like a playlist where, he's like, Big, you remember everything. How do you remember those lyrics? Like, bro, I was like a sponge. And I noticed my son and my daughter, they have that now. Okay. Where they just lyrics, they hear something, especially my daughter, and she just snatches it.
So what happened to the Big Boy career as a rapper?
Failed. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, man, I did one of those things, AD, where I threw everything up against the wall. I knew I wanted to be in entertainment.
Right.
So I threw everything up against the wall, and radio stuck. And when I got a bite on radio, I was like, fuck it, let me just try this. Because my radio gig started by, I used to do this hip-hop line called What Up? And What Up was just a line where it was WUDD-UP. And What Up was just a line that regular 213 number, and you would call and it would tell you what clubs was going on. Oh, it's Tuesday night, go to, Guadalinda, such and such.
Dope.
And then if I made a mistake, I'm not going to do the whole fucking voicemail over again. I would just rewind the record and go, then I come right back to where I was. You would hear this fun and personality and all that shit in there. And I was cool with the Baker Boys that did the morning show at Power 106.
I remember
Not ever thinking about doing radio, none of that kind of shit. I was already kind of going on tour with the Far Side, being the Far Side's bodyguard. Like I told you, I just did anything that kept me close to music. And so one day, dude, I got this call at the house. And it was the Baker Boy's boss. And he was like, hey, man, I speak to Big Boy. My mom came in. Somebody named Rick Cummings is on the phone for you.
How do you know?
He would call my line. Oh. And just listening. And I don't know how long he listened. I still talk to him. He was just listening. And this motherfucker heard something and called me and said, it's Rick Cummings. I work with the Baker Boys at Power 106. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? So on and so forth. And when he made that call, I didn't think about radio. I was like, man, we were on a Lollapalooza tour at the time. And he said, would you mind coming in doing one overnight, 4 hours, we give you $35 an hour. I'm thinking in my head, shit, I'll take this $35 an hour.
Right.
And I'm good to go.
Right.
All right, I'll be there. Go in, do the 4 hours. Next day he calls me back. Hey, would you like to come in and try that again? I'm like, yeah, I'll try it again. So I'm thinking my career is ×2 now. After those 2 shows, man, my man called me up and he said, I just want to try something with you. He said, you ever thought about doing radio? I said, no, not really, He said, would you consider doing radio? And I was like, yeah. Gave me the night show at Power 106, bro. I didn't know nothing about it. My man just said, go in there and remember the station is called Power 106.
That's it.
That's it. Be who you are. My man told me, Rick Cummings told me, he said, I could teach you radio, but I can't teach you personality.
So did they tell you what records to play?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is like, I'm a DJ. I'm a everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're a one-man show.
Yeah, exactly, man. You ever seen that old dude? How long you been in L.A.?
I've been in L.A. since I was 5 years old.
Okay,
so
do you remember Cedric the Entertainer? Not Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric, he was the one-man band on Venice Beach where this motherfucker had a bass on the floor. He played with his big toe. Then he played another guitar right here, and he had a snare drum on his back. So he had a saxophone. Pow! That was like me. I did all this shit. And so I went in, and it was like, okay, well, this is what you play. These are the commercials. I had a board op. I started off with a guy by the name of Richard Humpty Vision, and Richard Vision was already like kind of at Power. And they put us in together, and we were going to be the night show. They hit me up. Every day we would have these, what they call air checks, where you go back in and you listen to the night before. So we had listened to air checks. And then Rick was like, oh, let Big lead the breaks.
Right.
Richard, And so I'm not in radio. Richard told me one day, he was like, hey, man, he said, I think they're going to want you to do this by yourself. And I'm like, no, we're a team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was my safety blanket.
Right.
And sure enough, they asked me one day to go in there by myself. And I went in there by myself, man. I fucking bombed. Wow. Yep. And I told Rick, I said, Rick, I don't think I could do this by myself. And he said, just go in there and try it. Went in there for one night. I couldn't feel it. Next morning, he listened to that tape. He was like, yeah, you probably may need Richard in there. And when I heard need, I said, let me try it one more time.
Ooh.
And he let me try it one more time, bro. And from there, I have people that work with me, but I don't have a co-host. There's never been an and with my name. It's never been the big and Julissa, the big and Liz, the big and Liz. It's always been Big Boy. And then we went into Big Boy's neighborhood.
Yeah, I remember Liz too.
Yeah.
Liz was fine as hell.
Yeah, she still is.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She was definitely on one of my dream lists.
You know what I'm saying? And she probably even more so now because she eat and meditate and all that shit now. You know what I'm saying? So